President Biden said the U.S. is sending more military aid to Ukraine as its war with Russia enters day 99. Hawaii Congressman Ed Case was recently in Poland, which borders the eastern portion of Ukraine, and he joins us live this morning to talk about his trip. Good morning, Congressman. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. Aloha. Good to be home.
Now, first off, what can you tell us about your trip to Poland and meeting some of the soldiers?
Well, I was on an official congressional delegation with some of my colleagues. Our trip was about going to Europe, to the countries that are on the front lines of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and are literally right across the border from Ukraine. We went to Poland. We went to Lithuania, which is literally on the border with Belarus, Russia's ally. We were in Finland, which now wants to join NATO. And in all of these countries, as a member of Congress and as a delegation, we were there to support our ohana, as we say, in resisting Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We were there to talk with their leaders, with their defense people. We were there to cover our own folks and who are on the front lines again, and to visit our troops who are there sometimes just miles away from the border. In Poland, we were there very much on a humanitarian basis to review the refugees coming in from Ukraine, 3.5 million refugees into Poland, of which 95% are women and children. We visited the refugee center. We asked how we could help. Our country is helping in a great way. But as we know, much more help is going to be needed. And so we were there to understand, take that back to Congress, but also to project the United States' support of this effort against Russia.
Now, Congressman, what was your biggest takeaway from your trip, which also included a stop in England?
Well, my biggest takeaway is that Russia cannot win in Ukraine. I think that's been pretty obvious all the way along. The consequences of Russia winning in Ukraine are not just about a successful invasion of a sovereign, independent country who wants to align with us, who wants to be part of our ohana, not Russia's ohana. And yet when you're there on the front lines, literally miles away from that border, you realize how immediate that threat is. How immediate the Russia's desire to basically expand its territory could easily expand beyond Ukraine, and you realize the critical importance of United States assistance, not just on the defense front, but we are taking care of millions of refugees, and that's the right thing to do. And so my biggest takeaway was we're doing the right thing, and we need to keep doing it.
Now, what's your message to Hawaii residents? Because we're dealing with rising gas prices, supply chain issues, and rising costs in general.
Well, we are obviously in the middle of a very, very difficult period of inflation in our country, which is hitting us hard here in Hawaii in specific areas such as transportation, housing, food. And a lot of that is related to Ukraine. There's no way to sugarcoat it, especially on the energy side, where obviously Russia has substantial amounts of oil. And we said we're not going to take it anymore. And we have to do that. We cannot both resist Russia and buy its oil. And yet the consequences to our energy supplies here, we basically can take steps to ameliorate those costs by providing for oil from elsewhere in the world. I've worked on that in terms of assuring that we have the adequate shipping to bring that oil here so that we're not, hostage to companies that really don't want to serve us in terms of bringing the oil here, even from the United States proper, the continent. And but it's not just about Ukraine. There are a whole number of other areas where we're simply in a very difficult period of inflation, which is has a lot of different root causes, from supply chain shortages to et cetera. We have to work on each segment of this, each supply chain shortage. We have to solve that. We have to pick away at the pieces of inflation. And I believe that as we do, we will start to see inflation coming down, which it is coming down. But we are going to be in a period of accelerated prices here for the foreseeable future. And those are the facts. But we are working on the things that we need to do to bring it under control.
Now, residents will get a chance to have these conversations with you, Congressman, and ask questions, because I understand that you're hosting a Facebook Live highlighting cybersecurity as well.
Well, this is an area that many residents have asked for more information on. And so tonight at 6:30, on Facebook, I'm hosting a discussion on cybersecurity. This is critical for not only our governments and our business, but for each of us personally to protect our information, to secure our own computers. And so I've got a great group of experts locally that are going to come on with me at 6:30, and we're going to talk story through cybersecurity, answer questions. The best way to get on that is to go to Facebook at Rep Ed Case, or case.house.gov is a way into my office, and we've got the information on that and another talk story coming up on June 13th, but more information on that later.
All right, and of course, we will have all that information on our website at k22.com. Thank you very much, Congressman, for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you very much. Aloha.